welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. We may have folks join us as we begin the presentation. My name is Katie Wyatt. I'm the president and CEO of Sistema USA. Really excited to be here chatting with colleagues from the Johns Hopkins University, the Peabody Institute of Johns Hopkins University. I'm joined by my colleagues John Huling, who is the Director of Admissions, Townsend Plant, who is the Associate Dean for Enrollment and Student Life, and Celeste Franklin, who is Director of Financial Aid at the Peabody Institute. Thank you very much for being here with me. We're going to talk today about the Sistema USA and Peabody Institute scholarship opportunity for young musicians who are getting ready to graduate from their Sistema inspired programs and prepare for undergraduate life at the Peabody Institute.
Great. Thanks, Katie. So again, I'm John Huling, the Director of Admissions, and we put together a short PowerPoint that we're going to share with you right now, and it'll cover the fundamentals of Peabody and our admissions process and our financial aid process. And then we're going to open it up for a Q&A. Any of you that are able to join us live, please ask us your questions, and we will do our best to make sure you're well informed. So there you go. There's our logo, the Johns Hopkins University Peabody Institute. And here we are. So this is the team that's talking to you today. Katie just introduced us all, but there we are officially. And probably before this is over, we'll make sure that you have our email addresses so that you can follow up and talk to us or ask us any questions you have about the process here. I am going to share this quick video here. This is recently made, shows you a little bit about shows the conservatory, actually. It's a tour of the conservatory, so let's see if this works.
What impact do you want to have on the world? As you hone your talent to become among the very best, how might you use it? What kind of artist do you want to be? It may be a role with an established ensemble, or it could be something completely different. The world has changed, but the opportunities are still here for you to create. Your path begins by becoming an artist of the 21st century. It's about empowering you to take the world by storm. An education that will help you reimagine and create opportunities in a new landscape for the performing arts. You'll need the artistic training and career preparation that can only be found at the Peabody Institute of the Johns Hopkins University. For 160 years, we've been focused on excellence and innovation in the performing arts and leading the way in developing artists for a changing world. Here, you'll find that we build on Peabody's deep and time-tested traditions while pushing the boundaries and creating new standards in music and dance programs. You'll gain pragmatic experiences that'll ready you for a wide range of careers, all wrapped in a collaborative journey of self-discovery, honing the skills, embracing the challenge, and feeling the support you need to get there. Our acclaimed faculty embodies a perspective that we must reflect the different audiences we aim to impact, because our mission isn't about serving some bodies. It's about enriching everybody. Art is central to how we build, relate to, and connect communities, which is more important than ever. So we use the laboratory we call Baltimore as part of our journey and as a launching pad to a career in the arts. What you make of it is what your journey is all about. And whatever that is, we'll help you ensure it's world-class. Start here and learn how far you can go. The Peabody Institute of the Johns Hopkins University. World class means you can move the world.
My name is Townsend Plant. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Many of you are probably aware that Peabody is the oldest conservatory of music in the country. It was established in 1857. So we have a long tradition of educating and training some of the finest professional musicians in the world. In the late 70s, Peabody became affiliated with Johns Hopkins University. So it was at that point that the conservatory really became kind of uniquely positioned as one of the few that offers not only the focus of a great conservatory, but within a larger framework of a world-class university. We have about 700 students enrolled currently, and about half are undergraduate and half are graduate, and we offer undergraduate and graduate degrees in performance, jazz, music education, recording arts, composition, computer music. We also offer a double degree with Johns Hopkins University. And we also have 2 new degrees that were established about 3 years ago. So one is a BFA in dance and a Bachelor of Music in Music for New Media. So you've probably heard some talk of our breakthrough curriculum, which has really been a game changer for us. It was implemented about 3 years ago, and it's significantly enhanced the way which we've educated our students. And in a nutshell, the program is really a hallmark of the program is that we infuse into the conservatory curriculum leadership, performance flexibility, and citizen artistry. And we feel really enables our graduates to be prepared for any number of career possibilities in music and the performing arts. And we think really differentiates Peabody among its peers. One of the things that we've been intently focused on is increasing access to a Peabody education for students from all over the United States. And we've increased our investment significantly in financial aid over the last 5 years. And we are so proud to have this relationship with El Sistema USA and offering up to 2 full cost of attendance packages to students who are admitted to Peabody from the El Sistema program. We already have 3 students at Peabody as a result of this relationship, which was started a couple years ago. We look forward to seeing more in the years to come. So look forward to chatting more over the course of our presentation and answering any questions that may come up along the way.
Thanks. Katie, would you like to talk a little about El Sistema? Great.
Certainly. So the mission of El Sistema USA is to support El Sistema inspired programs all over the United States and also now in Canada. We have 120 organizations that enroll more than 20,000 students across the movement of El Sistema. We are particularly interested in talking to our rising seniors and people preparing to graduate and go into universities today. Some of the things we do is coordinate major partnerships like this one. So Peabody and the Johns Hopkins University have really been the front runners in offering scholarships to El Sistema inspired students and kids and helping support families and their children attend university. Because of Peabody's forward-thinking action, we've now started to have several conservatories interested in joining Peabody in this commitment to opening doors and making an incredible music education accessible. And I always credit Peabody for being the first really to go down this path. We want to be working with your program directors to be helping you prepare applications as well as auditions. And so we're here for you if you need any help in that space. I've been writing a lot of recommendation letters for our students. And so if you need help in that arena, please do reach out. We'd love to help.
Great, thanks. So applying to the Peabody Conservatory, this is a few of the bullet points here. We're going to go through them one at a time. And the first is where you can find the application. So if you go to the Peabody Conservatory website, peabody.jhu.edu, you will see along the taskbar a link that says apply and audition. When you click that open, you're going to see several application details, and you want to start by clicking the application requirements, and then it will get you to the beginning of the application. These are the important dates to remember. We opened the application last August, the 1st of August, and the regular decision deadline, meaning that's the February round of auditions, is December 1st. So that's coming up in about a week. I will tell you that if you have students interested in the program and they haven't started the application yet, we will be very flexible with that deadline. Have them get in touch with us, and if they need assistance, we understand sometimes this is a new thing to them. We can certainly help them get through the application. And there's normally a $120 application fee, but we will waive that for any student who applies through your programs. Again, these are more details if you go to this link. This year's a special year, as we all know. And normally in February, the majority of our auditions would be live auditions. Students would come to the Peabody campus. But this year we are doing video recorded auditions. So students, the way it'll work is that the applications are due on December 1st. If you're in one of the few areas that pre-screens, then you would submit the pre-screening video by December 1st. But all other areas will have until February 1st to submit the video recorded portfolio. So if you're a trombonist or you're a violinist, you'll have until February to get the recorded material into the application. But we would like to see the application as close to December 1st as we can, which is, you know, sort of all the contact information and program that the students are interested in.
What are the areas that require pre-screening?
So that's listed right on this next slide. I'm going to click through here.
Okay.
It says pre-screening requirements may be found here. Off the bat, some of them are piano, composition, flute, computer music, music for new media. But again, there's a complete list of them there. Most years we pre-screen for voice and strings, but this year we're not doing that to make it a little bit easier for the faculty and easier for the students rather than twice go to video materials. We're waiving the pre-screening. So in those areas, all string and voice applicants will have until February 1st to submit the video recorded auditions. And then this is just a little of what happens after the regular decision round of auditions. So the video recordings will be in by February 1st, and the faculty will use most of the month of February to make their decisions. They'll review these very thoroughly, very carefully this year, understanding that this is a different year, so they're gonna be listening with a different kind of approach. And then after that happens, they will make their recommendation for admissions to the enrollment committee, which is chaired by Dean Plant. And then for the first half of March, the applications are reviewed. So a student who's recommended for admission, now the admissions department will look at the application itself, make sure the students meet the other criteria for being eligible for admission. And then those recommendations will go to the committee and Dean Plant, where scholarships will be assigned. And then once the scholarship's assigned to the students, this discussion with faculty to review it and make sure that the scholarships are all in the right place for the students. And then just prior to April 1st, depending on what day of the week it is, the students will receive the decision, whether they've been admitted or not, which will include any information about merit awards and also any financial aid that's available, government, private institution, otherwise. And then from April 1st to April 30th, the students will have an opportunity to stay in touch with us, to get questions answered. We will reach out to the students who have been admitted, make sure that they know everything they need to know to make a good decision. And undergraduate students will have until May 1st. That's the deadline for making a commitment to come to Peabody or another school if they get into another school. That's standard across the industry that undergraduates let us know by May 1st. And again, there's an enrollment deposit usually when a student decides to enroll of $600. But this year, again, for any student who comes through the ESUSA program, we will waive that.
Great.
Sorry, this is just, again, some information. It has my email address. It has Celeste's email address, Director of Financial Aid. This is available. All of this is on the website. We're very, very easy to reach. So if you need to talk to us, you need to talk to financial aid, and anybody else, we're available all the time and here to help you out. And of course, Katie Wyatt has our direct contact information. So if you want to go through Katie, she can also get you directly to us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Celeste Franklin, and I'm the Director of Financial Aid for the Peabody Institute of Johns Hopkins University. Today, we're going to quickly go over some scholarship opportunities, some financial aid information, as well as application details. So I'm excited to report that the Peabody Institute does participate in a variety of different scholarship options to help students fund their education. A majority of our students are full-time and do receive some type of financial aid assistance. And so I'm going to go over those options with you today. We highly encourage you to reach out to the financial aid office and apply for some of these options if you are not a cash paying student. So before we go into some of the financial aid details, I wanted to explain to you the cost of attendance model. Here at Peabody, we refer to two different things: the institutional cost, which are billable items, and non-institutional costs, which are items that you're not necessarily billed for, but you would definitely want to factor into your budget so that you can figure out how to figure out your budget and cover your expenses. So the institutional cost are items that will show up on your bill. These items are things like tuition, fees, room and board. And the non-institutional indirect costs are items that aren't necessarily going to show up on your bill, but you might be responsible for. These are examples such as books, supplies, transportation, off-campus housing, insurance, utilities, so on and so forth. So again, these aren't necessarily things that we would bill you for, but you would definitely want to consider when funding your education here at Peabody. So now I'm going to go over the overview of the different options that we participate in. Students who apply for admissions are automatically reviewed for what we call merit aid. It's a holistic review of the student, and we also participate in need-based scholarship funding. So we try to look at the whole picture to make sure that the student covers all of their bases. In addition to institutional aid, we do participate in both federal and state aid. Examples of this are work study, the state grant, Pell Grant, and SEOG, which is for students that have a lot of unmet need. In addition to grants, we offer loan options to students as well. Examples of this can be seen between the subsidized and unsubsidized federal loans, as well as the direct and Grad Plus parent loans. Lastly, the other things that you're going to want to factor into your budget are the costs that your family can actually contribute. So after looking at any scholarship opportunities, federal and state aid, what can the household help cover towards the cost of attendance? So we encourage students to look for additional scholarships outside of the school, tuition assistance for any employer benefits, as well as VA's benefits for students, and 529 contribution plans. So those are the things that you would kind of want to look at to make sure that you cover all your bases to fund your education at Peabody. So when you apply for financial aid, the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you have an FSA user ID. This is something that you would create with your Social Security number in order to link that with your application to apply. Students are encouraged to fill out a FAFSA if you are a domestic citizen or eligible non-citizen. The FAFSA application usually processes in a couple of days. So as soon as that is submitted, the Department of Education will process it, and the school will automatically get a copy once it's gone through. Once we've reviewed all of your details, we will send you what is called an award package. So once you submit that FAFSA, what the data elements are going to do is basically look at your personal information, including your family contribution, your household information, and everything like that. And once that is reviewed, you're going to get a number, what's called the EFC, which stands for the expected family contribution, which is the amount that you are determined to be able to contribute towards the cost of your education based on your applications. So once this is in our system, then we're going to use that to determine what your awards are going to look like. So there's a different list of award options. We're going to go over that in a couple of slides, but the first thing that I want to review is just how to get the application submitted. So you want to make sure that you use the Peabody Institute school code, which is the first set of on the line of the slide, the E00233. Once that is submitted and you put the school code on your application, it's about 5 business days for the office to process it. And the application is already opened as of October 1, so we highly encourage students to apply. In addition to the FAFSA, you can also fill out what is called the CSS profile, which is my next slide. So beyond the need-based aid components and the merit-based aid components, we would want to look at your whole package and look at your CSS profile outcome. This is an additional review of your assets, your income information, your banking information that gives us a full picture of how to review you for need-based awards. If you are indeed eligible for need-based awards, we would want to get that application in as soon as possible. So that is already opened. The priority deadline is in February. So if you haven't submitted this, we encourage you to do so as well. So criteria for the FAFSA. Males who are under the age of 25 must be registered for selective service. FAFSAs are for US citizens or permanent residents or non-eligible citizens. If you do not have a social security number and you are in the process of trying to apply for one, for the time of getting your application in, please use 9s for a placeholder while you get those other documents into the office. In addition to having a valid social, you're going to want to have a high school diploma or GED equivalent, and making sure that you understand that dependent students will require mom and dad's information on the application, and independent students are able to apply on their own. So just make sure that you're aware of these things so that you're prepared to submit your application so that you can look at all the aid types that you're eligible for, which is my next slide. So there are, again, state aid options and federal options. State aid would be for local residents from Maryland for undergraduate students only. In addition to that, we also have grants in the form of Pell and SEOG, which is a supplemental educational opportunity grant for students that have high unmet need. And we also encourage students to, again, participate in other options such as the VA benefits if you have them and they're appropriate for your household, as well as tuition assistance. So lastly, the federal options consist of other things like work study, loans, which come in 2 different forms for undergrad students. The subsidized has a flat interest rate and it is need-based, as well as the unsubsidized loan that does not have a flat interest rate, which means the longer you stay in school, the more that interest will grow on that loan type. And lastly, for our dependent students, there is a Parent Plus option if mom or dad are willing to apply for loans. So things to remember for you. Please note that, again, the financial aid process is going to review your paperwork, so please make sure that your applications are submitted if you are indeed interested in getting some financial review for assistance. The priority deadlines for the CSS profile and FAFSA are in February, but the applications have been open since October. So if you, again, haven't applied, you still have plenty of time. Please note that if you are interested in receiving financial aid continuously, the applications are due every single year. So just make sure that you know to do them annually. And please note that on occasion, you do have to submit additional documents once you apply. So please do not be alarmed if the financial aid office contacts you for some other paperwork. Thank you so much. That's the end of my presentation.
Katie, I wondered if you wanted to talk a little bit about what resources might be available through El Sistema USA for students who might not have access to technological equipment, especially this year when we're requiring video recorded auditions. How would a student or an administrator get access to what they would need to make a recording?
Well, definitely El Sistema USA is here to help our program directors. And so we're really going to depend on the leaders of the Sistema program where you are going. So one of our students here, I'll call out Marcus. Marcus is a student at Kids Notes. So Marcus, as you're interested in applying at Peabody, you want to be sure to reach out to Ms. Shauna, who is the new executive director at Kids Notes. She will help you make sure that you get your video recorded on your phone. She is also there to help you make sure that you get the application put together, and with your parents submit the complete documents for Peabody. Also I was thinking about this also for those who are majority Spanish speaking or Spanish is your first language, or your parents would be more comfortable having everything in Spanish, both recordings and written material. Certainly your program directors would be able to help you. And at Peabody, where should people go for resources in Spanish?
That's a good question. Townsend, does our ESL assistance program help students with application translation work?
Yeah, if you just be in touch with admissions, we can work individually on a case-by-case basis to get assistance as needed.
Great.
Absolutely.
That would be great. Thank you.
All right.
I have a question for Celeste. I loved the slide where it was this list of all of these things that a student needed to put together, and then this very complicated composition right next to it. And I was like, yeah, that looks about right. Do you have any tips or guidance for students and their families as they're navigating the very complicated process of applying for college?
Yeah, I think setting a realistic budget helps. I think a lot of times students only look at the first semester and don't really project the cost for the full academic year or for the full program. And so I think it's important to be clear with your budget and very transparent about what you can and can't afford, and asking questions up front for additional resources. I think, every now and again, you have a student who submits an application and they've had a change in circumstances. The financial aid office wouldn't know that unless the student reaches out. So if, mom lost her job, or dad got injured at work and the hours have been cut back, that might change the financial aid picture. And so if there's ever a question about, again, once you've looked at your budget and whatever that shortfall is, if you are unable to meet that, you're going to want to reach out and just make sure that we have a conversation on covering all your bases.
Mhm.
Because in the event that you are actually considered for a special circumstance, meaning that your conditions are drastically different than what they were upon your application, then we're sometimes able to override that and package students with additional aid. Of course, there's a process for that. So there's going to be more forms or documentation that has to be submitted. But again, it doesn't hurt to ask. And so I would say that's the first thing, is just being realistic about your budget, looking at, if you do have a gap and there is some unmet need, what options are you comfortable with? And then making sure that, all those data elements are being properly captured. So if the household income has changed, you have to let us know so that we can redetermine your needs. So I hope that answers your question.
And
It
Katie,
also,
oh, sorry.
I was
I
just
was
going to
just,
say, it also seems like, Celeste, you are 100% there for helping these students get to Peabody. So if I think that's the big message for everyone to hear, which is that if you're confused, if you had a great audition, you did your part, your piece of the work, which is play a great audition and get that application in on time. You, Celeste, and your team really want to help everybody get to Peabody.
Absolutely. That is the message.
so should we open it up to questions, Katie?
Sure. I have one just before I turn to the couple of live participants that we have. One is, Celeste, you got to the screen. We talked about the full cost of attendance, and then you got to the screen where there were institutional costs and non-institutional costs. Is the full cost of attendance the combination of those two things?
Correct. Yes. So the full
Great.
cost of attendance is looking at the whole picture, keeping in mind that although the full cost is the worst case scenario, assuming that you were to use all of these items to the max, it's not necessarily what you would actually be responsible for paying. So that's why it's important to note what's billable and what's just an estimated figure that you would want to have allowances for. And so at the end of the day, what Peabody's most concerned with as far as your institutional cost is what shows up on your bill. That's what you have to pay. But again, please note that you might have needs beyond that, that you would have to figure into your overall budget.
And the El Sistema USA scholarship will cover those costs that show up on your bill.
Correct. Yes, and it will be based on the full cost of attendance. So obviously, the housing pieces, the room and board, so on and so forth.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Katie, I just want to point out that, the administrators of the El Sistema USA programs, everywhere, that if they have a student who is interested in Peabody, has already applied or is interested in applying, it's important that they help us identify that student. Currently, we don't on the application have a way for a student to say, oh, I'm part of an El Sistema program. So again, if they know that they are, they can write to me. They should write directly to me, and we'll make sure that they have my email address. But we would want to know that going in, that that they would qualify, if they're admitted to the program, that they would qualify to be considered for the scholarship.
Great. Should we take some questions?
Sure.
And if there are no questions, of course, again, same thing is that, we're available after this as well, all the way through the application deadline and beyond. So, they may think of questions they have later, and they should just contact us directly. And again, the more people that see this over time, questions will come up and we're here to answer them all.
Great. I have a question about the video recording. How high quality are you looking for in a video recording? Or is a video recording taken on someone's phone acceptable as an audition material?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we've been getting that question a lot this year. I would say to everybody's ability, certainly the best equipment available, but the faculty will be very, very sensitive to the fact that not everybody has access to high quality equipment. So students who use iPhones to record it, the important thing is, and they can reach out to us as, a student might not understand how far away should they be from the recording. If it's an instrument, a string instrument, the faculty want to see the fingers on the violin and the bow. If they're pianists, they're going to want to see the keyboard. If you're a brass player, woodwind player, then they like to see the embouchure and the technique. So again, the students, I would recommend that they try different positioning of the recording equipment, just to make sure that again, put themselves in the position of a faculty watching them. Is that what they want to see and what they want to hear?
Well, thank you very much for helping to make this recording. I'm going to send it out to all of the directors of all of our members of El Sistema USA, and I'm going to give them John's email to make sure that they can reach you.
I really
and let you know
do look forward to hearing. Yep, I look forward to hearing from them, really, because there's information again that they may not know, they don't know yet, but we're here. It's what we do, and we want to have as many students who would qualify for this to be considered for it. So it's a great opportunity, really a rare opportunity, I can tell you. So we look forward to the students getting involved and the administrators getting involved as much as we can.
We do have one question.
Okay.
Do you see it if you click on the Q&A
yep.
there?
It says, hello there, panel. Wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to deliver a very helpful presentation. I wanted to ask if there was any update about on-campus learning. So I'm not sure if this question is pertaining to currently what's going on or next fall when incoming students would be there. But I think Townsend, Dean Plant, would be the best person to talk about where we are with.
Yeah, well, you're probably aware that we're currently in a fully remote format. That was a decision that we were forced to make very close to the start of the fall semester. We had planned to be in hybrid mode, which meant that about 75% of the coursework students were going to take online, and then ensembles and applied lessons we were planning to have in person. But given the public health situation back in August, Johns Hopkins and Peabody made the decision to go completely remote. We have been planning all fall to be in a hybrid format beginning in the spring. And so that is our plan right now. Obviously, we are watching very carefully everything that's happening around the country with the escalation of the virus, and the public health guidelines, both here in the state and around the country, will dictate what we're ultimately able to do. But our plan right now is to resume with a hybrid format in the spring, which, as I mentioned earlier, is going to feature primarily, ensembles, socially distant ensemble configurations, and applied lessons with faculty. We want to at least be able to provide the opportunity for students to make music together. Now, next fall, obviously, nobody really is sure what the trajectory of the virus is going to be. I think we're all hopeful that, things will progress to the point where we'll be able to resume normal activity in the fall, which is where, what most of the students who are seeing this webinar are going to be applying for, right? So, but obviously that will be something that we will continue to update everyone on as the weeks unfold during the winter and during the spring. So hopefully we'll know more soon, but that's the plan right now. I hope that's helpful.
I think this has been great. Thank you so much to Townsend and John and Celeste. It's a pleasure to see you again. It's a pleasure to meet you, Celeste. Thank you so much for helping make this opportunity possible for our students. I'm going to reach out directly to all of our program directors and all of the teachers in all of our El Sistema USA member programs, and they will be connected directly to John for the application process and then directly to Celeste for the financial aid process. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
And we look forward to getting all these great young musicians on the way to Peabody.
That sounds great. We look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
all.
Bye.